All right. Probably spent way too long on that heat check.
Nah,
But
good to hear it.
all right, let's get this thing going. What's let me see. I'm gonna get a little sound effect going. What's a good sound? We're gonna lock in on the horns real quick. We're gonna get into this kind of the main topic that we wanted to chat about while we were here.
Word.
Mainly, what does it take to go full time as an independent artist, and why you might still be stuck after trying numerous things and numerous attempts and spending all your money and giving all this time, and AI is a threat and streaming's not popping and you're trying to book your
Yeah.
shows. Like, it's all the things that's just not really adding up. We want to kind of unpack that a little bit and see, what does it really take? How can we approach this idea of going full time? But Frank, I'm curious, like, what did that look like, your journey into full
Full
time
time.
artistry, and what did it look like going into it, and what does it look like now?
Yeah. Early on, I was doing both. I was working. I wouldn't even consider it a 9 to 5. My schedule was from 12 to 9 p.m. And then when I got off of work, I would come home and try to figure stuff out, recording songs, doing stuff until like 3 in the morning.
Okay.
And I think for me, there was an aspect of going to work. I was depressed going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
there's this idea as an artist, like you go into work and you're like, bro, I should be doing, my life should look like this. You know what I
1,000.
mean? And I
1,000.
think I was not able to give myself to work fully, mentally at least. And then I was grinding on the side. Once I got to a point though, where my work check and then the check that I was making working on other platforms were the same, and I was doing it in like 3 hours versus a full 10-hour day at work, I said, you know what? If I was to take these 3 hours and devote 10 hours to this, what would that look like?
Yeah.
So to be 100% honest, if I go back, I probably would prep better. I think I had like 2 months worth of living saved. Not
Okay.
even nothing crazy. And
Yeah.
it came to one point, it was during COVID actually. And I was like, man, I had got COVID. It was in the hospital and everything, bro. And I was like, bro, I'm going to live my life doing this, and I'm never going to just see if this even works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? When I get out of COVID, I'm putting my 2 weeks. When I get out of the hospital from COVID, I'm putting my 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
And I know my boss was livid, but I did it. And that was 6 years ago, bro. So.
Okay. So we kind of transitioned around the same time. I think I might have been a year after you, which is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. What were some of the things that? Well, actually, let me pivot to my side.
Yeah.
What does full time artistry look like for you now? Like, what were the things that you were doing that kind of got you there, and what does it look like now? Are you still doing these things? Still doing those things, or is it different?
No, I've definitely pivoted to more doors have definitely opened and more revenue and stuff like that. But I was mainly doing SoundBetter. SoundBetter.com.
Shout out SoundBetter.
Shout out to SoundBetter, bro.
We should probably get them
life.
as like some sponsors, bro. I'm gonna write that on the list.
that would be super dope. SoundBetter.com, and that would probably be my launch pad for a lot of artists. So I was mainly doing SoundBetter, ghostwriting for people, doing songs and stuff like that. And then they show you on there how much you're making monthly, and I was like, all right, well that's matching. I'm making monthly over here.
I didn't know that. Like, cause I was trying to do, I did a couple jobs on SoundBetter, but I never got to that place where it was like rolling in like that. I feel like you and Wes were like,
Wes is the one. Shout out to Wes. He put me onto that.
Okay.
And there's a period, in the beginning where you got to build. It's literally like building an online business because all they are is just a marketplace.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I was doing full songs for like 200.
Yeah.
Just to generate reviews. And then once I got to like 100 reviews, the price went up, and then that was all she wrote. I adjusted every year to go up. So yeah, that's been what's helped me grow.
So what does it look like now since you're not doing SoundBetter anymore?
Now, I still do some SoundBetter every now and then. I'll take my account down sometimes, or I'll slow it down and then I'll hop back in. For the most part, I will say a lot of the things that I'm working on now were birthed through SoundBetter. And that's from companies that they were looking for an artist specifically. They came to SoundBetter, hired me, and then once I was working with them, some time went on. They might have started a whole separate company, and we worked through that. And then I believe the next big thing was like signing with Artlist.
Okay.
Under their Artlist original.
For those
team.
who don't know what Artlist is, what is Artlist?
Artlist.io is really a platform for music. I mean, not music creators, video creators. So all the assets you need to make a fire video. We are then providing them fire songs, so that way the video creators can use it.
Which you just landed a placement recently. It's like Razor?
With Razor. Yeah, with Razor.
Yeah.
So that's through Artlist. So the dope part about that, working with Artlist, they use the song, and then the video creator makes something like a Razor, and then that's free content for you to repurpose back onto your page and show what you're doing. So that's kind of the system that I created. Is, I have something on Artlist, and then I will repost that off the content.
Okay,
so I've had. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask too. So you were doing SoundBetter. You leverage SoundBetter to kind of get out of your job and then also make connections through there to get you into, what we know as sync licensing. Which for those who don't know what sync licensing is, you're basically making your music available for visual media. So your song is match the picture, and they pay you a fee for that. And Artlist is like one of those companies that does it. But you were able to get opportunities via Artlist to supplement SoundBetter. Is it just Artlist, or was there other?
No, I think there's a lot of music libraries. Hit me up on SoundBetter. That's like once the music library started hitting me up on SoundBetter, and then I started generating songs, the back end of a royalty check, that quarterly BMI, that was all from SoundBetter, and the relationship built from there. But now we message each. I know them, like I could call them on the phone and stuff.
I didn't even think about that too. Like, I didn't realize music libraries were on SoundBetter looking for, I guess, vocalists, producers, and writers for their projects. Because I know that's always a question. Like, for artists looking to get their music in TV and film, and trying to get on board with libraries, they're always like, well, how do I get my music into a library? And I guess that it's, you're getting paid up front, and also you're getting a connection for some other. That's really dope. Okay.
And the dope part for the most, usually they're like, at the time they were startups, and that's probably why they were like, we need to find some artists to submit music to us.
That makes sense.
And they would start up, and then now almost a decade goes by. These are some of the libraries that are big names or on
who are they?
Alt Life is one of them.
Okay.
So I work with Alt Life, and then another one that I work with is Extreme Music.
Extreme
is great. Extreme is huge,
and they're owned by Sony, right?
Yes, they are. Are they owned by? Is it Warner? No, they are owned by Sony.
I think it's Sony. Maybe I'm wrong.
It is Sony. Yeah.
We'll
I'm confusing them between UMG and Warner Chappell.
Yeah.
And then realistically, with the songs on Artlist, some people will say, "Hey, I heard your song on this ad."
Yeah.
I run another company I work with was Warner Chappell.
Okay.
And then Universal Music, or UMG as well. All just heard songs that I did off of like an ad that a video creator used.
Wow.
So it's just kind of lined up that way.
And I'll talk about my story, but I just want to stay here a little bit too, because I know there's other ancillary means of income that's coming in, like from the streaming side. Like, maybe you could talk about like how streaming might play into this whole licensing, like getting your music on TV and film, and how those talk to one another.
Yeah, so the streaming side, which is dope, a lot of times with the companies, they put the music up on DSPs. And you've seen it before, where you have a song that it gets a crazy placement. Like we had one song that Cristiano Ronaldo reposted. Mm-hmm. And then once he reposted it, the streaming is just shot to the moon. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that, where you leverage one and you focus in on one, and then there's another after effect that comes after it. That's a great example of, using sync licensing and leveraging that to then generate streams. Because just hoping to go viral, people think that's the only way you can generate streams, and it's not.
Yeah. Which is and it's one of those things, like, as we're going through this pod, I want to kind of, because we obviously have a bias, like, this is our industry. This is, how we make the majority,
Right.
of our living. So we're going to be heavily biased towards licensing, but also would, as we get further in the pod, bring in guests to, like, actually, when I was coming up with the idea for this pod, I wanted to have a format where we're just bringing in different guests who have actually gone full time and really just interviewing them of, like, how they did it, because I just feel like we can glean insights from people's stories, and also there may be other ways that non-traditional ways that people have found their way into a full-time situation that artists have no clue about.
They have no clue.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like SoundBetter might be one of those things.
For sure. A lot of people don't know about SoundBetter.
Yeah.
Well, it's SoundBetter is popular, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the artists that are just focused only on their artistry, I talk to them about SoundBetter, and they're like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And I got to give them the full breakdown.
Yeah, man. And there's other platforms like a SoundBetter as well. So there's different ways you can monetize, but I do want to kind of give a as much as we can, a full scope of just how does monetization happen, how does sustainability happen, as a for the indie artist to be able to really make a full-time situation,
of course,
more realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's dope. I feel like I had another question, but I'll pivot and maybe I can kind of get in the hot seat a little bit. So, for me, it's similar to you. Like, I was for one, actually didn't have and I want to ask you that. Did you always want to do music full time, or was that kind of like you grew into
the most part? Yeah.
So I always feel like I'm a late bloomer with that, because my background is in the visual art side. So I was that child that was drawing when I was little, and
nice,
the creative kid, and got into, like, photography and digital arts and all this other kind of stuff. Like, I went to Full Sail University, shout out to Full Sail. I got my bachelor's in digital arts and design.
Oh, fire.
Music was always just something I did for fun. Like, my brother did it. I wanted to do it because he did it. Learn how to make beats for fun with me and my brother. Started writing when I got introduced to, the church. Like, we were performing in the church, and it was then a form of ministry. And then, we were forming community around all this other. So I had no real, like, desire to, like, do it seriously full time. I just enjoy creating, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it wasn't until I, graduated college, was doing a lot of freelance work as a designer, caught the attention of the label that I would then be signed to, or later be signed to rather, called RMG. Shout out to RMG.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so that was in the, Christian hip hop space. And that's really what kind of gave me a bit of, like, it started to, the conversation of, full-time artistry
opened up.
Yeah, it just opened up my mind. I was like, well, what if, you know what I mean? Because now I'm around other artists on my label who are full-time, and I'm getting to see what the entrepreneurial, full-time thing really looks like. And yeah, so that kind of took me on an interesting journey. But even during that time, though, it never got to the place. And this is a topic that's really, close to my heart, because I just feel like there's not, I don't know, like, we kind of see the artists who made it, but it's just like, what did it take to really get there? Because and bumping our heads along the way. Because I was still, even while I was doing artwork for the label, I was also signed to the label, and I was touring, and I was working full time. You know what I mean? So I had all of these hats I was wearing, and I was making money, but it wasn't anything like super crazy. We're getting anywhere between like 200 to 500 a show. Streaming, I'm not really seeing much from streaming because I'm still in recruitment, from the label. Like, there's merch sales and stuff like that, but that's not doing, a lot, at least enough for me to feel comfortable as a newly married man to, like, jump ship and go full time. Maybe it could have happened, but it just never seemed like the wise or prudent move. And it wasn't until I decided to leave the label. So timeline is around 2015, 2014. I got signed to the label, left the label around 2018, 2019, and then decided to just go full on, indie and specifically trying to figure out how to get my music in TV and film. And why I decided to go that direction is because I had got a placement with ESPN early on with the label. Like literally probably the first couple of months I had signed, somebody was following the label who worked over at ESPN, saw the EP that we had just dropped and was like, yo, one of Deraj's songs will work. We think will work well for ESPN's First Take. Which is funny. I never even heard of First Take. Yeah, I didn't even know.
Crazy.
I didn't know what it was. And it was a first of first, not just for me, but for the label as well. Like I was the first artist on the label to actually get a placement. And that kind of created a conversation for the label ongoing. So now they even have a whole label division and label strategy around licensing, which we got to probably get Derek on here to talk about that. But anyway, another convo. But yeah, so that's so to see, like once that happened, I was like, yo, I got to figure this out. You know what I mean? Because it was, I think whatever we got paid was probably equivalent of whatever I was getting for a show. And I'm just like, I didn't have to go anywhere for it. It was just, and I'm getting my music exposed to a major, I'm getting my music exposed by way of a national brand, international brand probably. But, so anyway, fast forwarding, like I was like, I got to figure out how to do this whole sync licensing thing, how to get my music in TV and film. And similar to you, I started my journey there by way of a course that